What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
A sense of satisfaction I had never experienced before filled me.
With this, the data of the 7 angelic system ultimate skills is complete. Velzard's dragon factor has also been acquired. So, I will begin the analyze and assess.
It wasn't just me who felt content, Seal-san was clearly pleased as well. After the battle with Michael, I checked in on Diablo and the others. I was relieved to see everyone was safe.
I have no excuse for my failure this time, and I can't forgive myself.
No, it was unavoidable. What could you have done if they could stop time?
No, I should have prepared better countermeasures. I regret underestimating the situation, thinking it would be useless against those who could move within the time stop. I won't make that mistake again.
Diablo was in a rare state of gloom, and it took some effort to cheer him up. I figured that time stop was a bit unfair, but since only a few could actually use it, I didn't see it as a major concern. However, Diablo and Soy thought differently.
Diablo, teach me how to counter it.
I've got a rough idea, but it's tough to go beyond that. If you know how to deal with it, please share.
Of course, Soy Dono. Ultima, you should listen too.
They were deeply engrossed in discussing countermeasures. Well, it makes sense. If you're not prepared, you could repeat the same mistakes. If there's a solution to this, it's better to be ready beforehand. I believe Diablo and the others are right to be thorough. Given time, they can come up with a way to handle any challenge. So, I decided not to interfere with their discussion. Leon hadn't regained consciousness yet, so I instructed Diablo to take him back to Tempest. I doubted he'd be targeted again, but better safe than sorry. I also directed Ultima to assist Xian. With DeGruel on the move, I figured Ruberius would be the next battlefield.
I'll be back soon, so farewell for now.
Well then, Rimuru-sama, I'm off.
The two quickly set off. Veyron and Zonda followed Ultima, leaving just Soy and me. But there was still more work to do. Here, we needed to investigate the Holy Void Damerganya. DeGruel didn't seem the type to betray us, so something must have happened. I wanted to uncover what that was and also check on the city's current state.
I'm counting on you, Soy.
Understood.
I knew I could trust Soy. After giving the orders, I returned to the capital, which had been my last concern. But it turned out, there was no need to worry.
You're late. It's already done.
Velgrind informed me with a proud smile. To my surprise, Masayuki had defeated Feldway, the enemy leader.
That's incredible.
Hold on. Before you congratulate me, hear me out first.
I got it. Masayuki probably wasn't thrilled about the whole situation. But he had won, so he deserved some credit. I felt a sense of relief. Honestly, I was just glad everyone was safe. But my relief was short-lived. Soon after, reports started coming in about the state of the war around the world. The situation was far worse than I had imagined, and my mind quickly shifted to preparing for the battles ahead.
Volume-19 Epilogue. Evolving Malice.
A powerful surge coursed through it, stirring its awareness. As its eyes faintly opened, it noticed only the small figures that always seemed to obstruct its path. Before it stood a figure, effortlessly wiping out the masses of these beings. This force was so overwhelming that even the world-destroying dragon, Ivarage, could not dismiss it. In mere moments, the slaughter was complete, and the victor, Michael, departed, sparing no thought for Ivarage. Ivarage, feeling a slight discomfort, began to move sluggishly, heading toward the aftermath of the conflict. There, the remnants of those who had opposed him for countless years lay. As he gazed upon the many lifeless bodies drifting in the air, he muttered to himself. These fools had mounted feeble assaults that had not even made him itch. Yet, they had provided some relief to Ivarage's endless monotony. Perhaps it was this vague sense of loss over their deaths that drove him to act so pointlessly. But that seemingly trivial act sparked a profound change within Ivarage. This being, who had always been devoid of intellect, reason, or purpose beyond his instinct to destroy, now experienced something new. An emotion had taken root. For the first time, Ivarage felt hatred. This marked the beginning of an awakening, a sprouting of both intellect and emotion. Even the gods could not have predicted that the grudges of those Michael had slain would awaken something within Ivarage. And the transformation didn't end there. Absorbing the souls of over 10,000 beings, Ivarage had begun a period of evolution. No. It was more accurate to say that the time had come. This malevolent being was on the verge of rebirth as an embodiment of pure malice. More cunning, more evil, with an even stronger drive to bring about the world's end. Just before this evolution into a dark god, before the Halloween carnival, Ivarage saw it. Michael had left, and the portal to another world had opened. Anticipating what lay beyond, Ivarage drifted into slumber. What could be on the other side of that gate? And what thrilling events might await him there? And would there be an adversary worthy of this newfound hatred? Ivarage's heart nearly burst with anticipation. These were new feelings, desires he was never meant to experience. But now, it was too late. The day when this dreaming evil god would awaken was drawing near.
Volume 20 Prologue. Feldway.
Right after being defeated by Rudra, Feldway immediately instructed Mai, who had been on standby for emergencies, to retreat to their secure location, the Heavenly Star Palace. Without even bothering to change out of his blood-streaked robe, Feldway let out a furious scream, his face twisted in humiliation.
Damn you, Rudra, stop playing games. What kind of hero can't even protect Vildanava-sama?
These words reflected Feldway's genuine rage, seething from the depths of his heart. He knew Rudra was strong, but he never imagined he could lose while wielding the castle guard. Indeed, the breach of the supposedly invincible castle guard had caught even Feldway completely off guard. Even if he hadn't been naturally cautious, this alone would have been reason enough to retreat. Though he knew there was no shame in this decision, Feldway still couldn't control the anger boiling inside him. It wasn't a devastating defeat, he told himself, trying to regain his composure. To steady himself, he chose to ignore his own failure for the moment and focused on the broader war efforts. But what he discovered next left him utterly shocked.
Michael-sama, is Demon Lord Rimuru taken care of?
Demon Lord Rimuru was their primary concern. Feldway sent a thought directly to Michael, but there was no response.
What's happening?
Michael and Feldway shared the same power, essentially making them one being. Regardless of distance or even if they existed in separate dimensions, their shared will was supposed to be unbreakable. The only way this link could be severed was if one of them was in a dire situation where the other couldn't respond. However, unlike Feldway, Michael was a parallel existence, meaning that as long as even one copy of him remained, he could be revived in any situation. So there shouldn't be any reason to panic. No, there shouldn't have been any reason to worry, but this silence was unusual.
Now that time had resumed, the battle should have been over by now.
Demon Lord Rimuru shouldn't even be aware of the suspended world. In other words, the plan should have been completed the moment Leon took the bait. Yet, a sense of dread began to make Feldway's heart race. And then, a message came through.
Ah, my wish has been fulfilled. Feldway, my only regret is leaving you behind.
This was the final thought sent by Michael as he was on the verge of vanishing, using the last of his strength to reach Feldway. Feldway could still feel Michael's power within him. But Michael's will was no longer there. This confirmed that Michael had indeed died.
This can't be. Michael-sama's a parallel existence, isn't he? No matter the situation, as long as I am still here, he should be able to come back.
Feldway was so overwhelmed with grief that he couldn't even think of trying to fix the situation. Michael had been the first friend he ever made. Unlike Celerio and Fen, Michael was the first one with whom Feldway had allowed himself to be open and honest. Feldway, always cautious, had taken numerous steps to ensure Michael's safety, taking every precaution until he felt everything was secure. And yet, there was no sign of Michael's return. No, the ultimate skill, Justice King Michael itself hadn't vanished, and there was an indication that the manas had returned. It would respond to inquiries, but the ego was gone. What remained was merely the pure power to control Justice King Michael. It was fundamentally different from Michael, the friend who had sought to revive Veldanava of his own free will. Feldway had no choice but to accept that his friend was completely gone.
Why? How could this happen?
He muttered these questions to himself, but there was no one to answer. Feldway was left in a state of shock by this unimaginable event. Michael's final words echoed in his mind. What did he mean by his wish had been granted? Feldway couldn't make sense of it, but he found some solace in knowing that Michael hadn't suffered in death and that his life had held meaning. However, he couldn't help but feel envious of Michael.
How selfish, to find peace and leave me behind.
He thought. Feldway was lonely. As the leader of the 7 primordial angels, all the burdens of leadership rested squarely on Feldway's shoulders. He had to make all the decisions alone, without the option of seeking advice from others. When Veldanava departed, the pressure became inescapable. Despite everyone's concerns, Feldway remained at the forefront, continuing to lead. It was inevitable that Feldway, who handled everything by himself, would eventually become disconnected from his peers. His mistake was that he never considered what his colleagues thought. This gradual accumulation of such a situation led to friction, and without Feldway realizing it, he began to lose his grip on the group. As a result, the unity of the group started to unravel. Whether it was a blessing or a curse, Feldway remained oblivious to this reality. Fen was also a friend, but Feldway didn't trust him enough to reveal his vulnerabilities. After all, there wasn't a single person in the entire world who could truly understand Feldway or heal his heart. Then Michael came into his life. Michael, sharing the same goals and understanding Feldway in a way no one else did, filled the emptiness within him. It was a happiness Feldway had never known before. In time, Michael became as significant to Feldway as Veldanava had been. However, reality proved to be harsh. The friend he had finally found was now gone, leaving Feldway all alone.
What am I supposed to do?
For the first time in his life, Feldway felt a deep sense of weakness.
Hey, General, stop moping around and tell me what's next.
Although it was only for a brief moment, Feldway was indeed taken aback. However, it was Vega, notorious for his lack of tact, who called out to Feldway without a second thought. Mai Furuki was also there, but she remained silent as usual, quietly observing the situation. Vega, on the other hand, was the only one who seemed entirely unconcerned. Feldway, feeling offended, shot a glare at Vega.
Be quiet. We have just lost contact with Michael-sama. You need to understand that now is not the time for this.
He snapped at Vega, trying to shut him up. But Vega wasn't one to pick up on subtle cues.
Huh? After all that tough talk, that Michael guy still lost? How pathetic.
And on he went, continuing to speak. This was enough to push Feldway into a rage.
I said shut up.
Feldway shouted, unleashing a fierce and brutal attack on Vega.
Whoa, this guy is unreal.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Havox, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, Sanketh Chelu, T. Bush, JV, Thomas, Christ, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Kemal Ebanks, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Normal Defate, Vicente Baharias, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Ekotski, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Guy Ensley, Simon Rode, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, George Hage, Pratik Bandari, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Vasta Lord, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Spencer Candila, Ian Sikibiol, Thanacorn Lee Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Alex Buthan, Nathaniel Johnson, Michael Brinkley, Elijah Pierre, Michael Stern. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.